Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. All right, guys. Hey, welcome back. I got one of your favorites on with me today, where if you guys listen in through the radio or through that part, I'm actually on a physical Zoom with the great Mary D, who I love. Mary D, welcome to the program.
Thank you, as always, Casey. Love being here with you. How's the eyesight today?
I'm. It's so funny that she's ripping on me because I was just trying to to zoom in because you got some interesting background there. Can you tell the listeners what you got going on there?
I got some plants because I resonate with some nature, and I've got a few books. I've got my elephants because I love elephants. It's sort of my like connection to Thailand. These ones are my favorite because they're literally an elephant that's sitting on the edge of the, literally sitting on the edge of the shelf here. And the other one is pulling him up. So it's kind of that idea of like helping others. You know, we lift as we climb. So that's all the stuff I got going on back here.
Totally cool. And it looks like at first I was like, are we doing a nature show with Mary D? Is now Mary D doing
a nature show? 100%, 100%.
But if someone could do it, it would be you.
Oh.
Doesn't matter what it is, Mary.
Thanks, Casey. Thanks.
So Mary, man, for people who haven't seen or heard your show before, can you just give us a little refresher about yourself and about the services you provide? I could brag on you all day, but in case people haven't seen your show before, just give me a little bit about Mary D.
Absolutely. So I'm a business advisor. I've been in the space for, over 20 years now. And the simple version is that as a business advisor, I've been basically a lifetime COO. And so my joy and specialty is walking into businesses and really helping them with their strategic decision making. I help leaders make confident decisions. And we do that by looking at overall strategy as well as all the pieces that need to move into place to complete on that strategy. And it's just something I've been really gifted with, and I'm grateful for it. I have been able to help a lot of different businesses. And aside from that, just help people live their fullest, best life. I'm a cancer survivor and found joy even through that adversity. And now one of my most special things to do is actually hop on here and talk about what do we wish we knew before now? Like what advice? Yeah. Like, what advice do we have for others? How do we share this with each other? Like Casey, what do you know now that you wish you'd known before you'd gone into media?
You got
like those kinds of questions. I know, right? See, that's what I'm talking about.
It's a great show. It's a great idea. And this was all your idea. And I was looking forward to having you to seeing your thoughts on this, because look, here you are, you're in demand, one of the top speakers. People want you to come speak. They want you to come to their work with the CEOs. They want you to come in and tell them, different ideas and creative ways to improve their business. They want you to work with different groups. You got everything. You're at the top of your game. Why would you want to do something different?
Oh, that's such a good question. I don't know that I would want to do anything different. There's such a gift in it, and being able to work with leaders, with CEOs and visionaries, and also to mentor future COOs and upcoming leaders. That's really where the joy lies, because I have so much to give in those areas, just so much wisdom to pass down, as well as I've made a lot of mistakes, so people can learn from those mistakes. That's how we find the lessons and actually, make good of them in life. That's what they're there for. And I'd say that appreciate you talking about the speaker stuff, because as it so happens, I actually have 2 events happening this weekend.
You just booked 2 of them?
I know. And so Success Fest 21, for those of you who are interested in it's like a 4-day event, that is actually launching in 2 days. We will start live on the 26th, and we have speaker after speaker after speaker. You can head over to maryd.com and get more information there. I'm posting all the updates today to my Instagram, which is @themaryd. That's MARYDEE. In addition to that, I'm also
Where was the first one? Where was the first one?
Success Fest.
Where?
Oh, this one is online.
It's
This is
online,
all
so anybody
virtual.
international, anybody can
Any
get it.
anybody can join us, and there's even a recorded version for those of you that can't join all of it live. You can catch some of those pieces, and then I have speaking actually live for the International Association of Women, and that's happening on
Nice.
Saturday. And I will be going live at 10:15 a.m. Pacific time
This
or
Saturday.
1:15 Eastern time this Saturday. Yes, and so you can
Awesome.
also head over to the International Association of Women, or again, you can check out my stuff on at the Mary D on Instagram, and it'll take you to register there. And again, just giving you all the goods. I'm doing 2 workshops this weekend. It's a busy weekend.
Yeah, it is. And what I was thinking is that uh, the talking the speaking gig that you're going to do, I would love to next time we do our show to play some clips from it, and then you take us around
Ooh,
and tell us maybe pull like 3 or 4 clips and just talk about where you were going with that. That might be a fun
yeah,
show. But
yeah.
tell me about these other. I don't know if you're gonna have enough hours, but
I know.
tell us about the other programs you got going on this
Yeah,
weekend.
for sure, for sure. So those are the 2 programs. Success Fest is, like I said, it's really for entrepreneurs, built for entrepreneurs who are either just getting started, as well as those who are scaling and growing. So many great tidbits on how to structure your time, also on the secrets to success. I'm talking about redefining success for more joy in your life and to live your best life. So we really have some awesome topics, awesome teachers. We've got doctors, we've got lawyers, we've got marketers, pretty much anything you need under the sun. If you're an entrepreneur, you want to join us there. And
Awesome.
for our International Women's Group, obviously that is an association. It's a fantastic community for those of you looking to connect. If you're in direct sales, if you are in tech, it is a wonderful place to come find other women like yourself who are driven and hungry and seeking community. And we're going to do a lot of sharing where we really come with the goods. And I'm excited about doing that workshop on simplifying success.
That's awesome. And you say that these are great ways to network too, right? I
They
mean, to
are.
make
There's
contacts.
such a good opportunity to network. And it's
You
really,
said that was important before.
so important because it allows us to scratch each other's back. You never know, like your custom. Let's pretend that you do facials for a living, and you go and you meet someone who does massage. I guarantee you, your customers are probably very similar. They're probably
Mm,
the same customers. So how do you work together to also bring offers to those people who want and need your services, but without having to kind of go one by one and be like, oh, I hope I find someone who wants massage today. I hope I find someone who does facials. Go find someone who does facials, put them together with someone who does massages. Their customers are probably the same,
yeah.
and they can both share and also deliver their service that those people want and need to the marketplace. And that's
And be a
that's
part
how
of
it's done.
the women empowering women.
Yes, for sure. Yes. And that's another big one. I feel like there's sometimes there's pain wrapped up in our past around our relationships. And sometimes that does happen with women. I often will meet women who go, oh, I just like being friends with men because they're just so much easier. Like there's less drama, there's less this and that. And I'm like, okay. Like there was a time where that might have been true for me too. But there is a beautiful balance in finding um, women that you can really connect with, because I feel like we're all made so differently, but women we tend to like lean into intuition, and we tend to be like very nurturing, and so we're just built differently. And so how nice is it though to connect with others like us, to know that we're
Mm,
not alone,
yeah.
and women who can relate to us from the feminine, as well as having great men in our life like you, Casey, who
Ah,
bring in this lovely masculine energy, but that one that's non-toxic and feels good, and that
oh, that's
we can
so
just
nice.
enjoy being around.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much, and I appreciate you how to explain what that was, because sometimes I think as men I don't think we're as good listeners if I could make a generalization. I don't think we're as good listeners as women are, and to find other women that are rooting for you at this place, that's that's irreplaceable. I mean that is when other people are cheering you on, and all those, I guarantee you, all those people. That's what they're about. They're
Yeah.
not looking to divide and conquer. They're looking to help
Right.
and to meet people like minded. Is that accurate?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. And I think, there's what I like to say is there's kind of groupings, right? Like when I think about the world that I've grown up in for the most part when it comes to my career, I've actually worked with a lot of men and I find myself sometimes as the only woman in that circle. So it's nice to leave some of that and come and be with other women who have also been in that same situation because we can really relate to each other and talk to each other
Yeah.
and just share, and talk about some of the outliers and what's comfortable and what's uncomfortable and some things that have come up. And the other flip side of that is there are women who have only really been comfortable doing business with other women. Maybe it's confidence level, maybe it's just the nature of the business that they're in. And so, how do we also come to them and say, hey, like, here's where we can share. And then you share with me too. Like, I want to hear what this is like being surrounded by all this feminine energy all the time. Or, hey, come just let's talk about what it's like when we are working in these circles where we're surrounded by men. Like, where do we, how do we get comfortable with just showing up as who we are without necessarily having to put a label on everything so that we can all show up and do our best work in the world?
When Mary, when you were coming up, and of course everyone knew that you were something special. You were, very bright and creative. Did you ever have a bad experience with someone who was a adjective and didn't give you the respect that you deserved
Ooh.
because? Did that ever happen to you?
That's a great one. So I'll tell you when I was actually 17, which I know sounds so young, but you guys, I was one of those like 17-year-olds going on like 25. So when I was 17, I actually worked for one of the biggest grocery chains in Texas. And the GM there was a guy who was like out of the military. He was really pretty strict. But I liked him. Like he and I got along well. He gave me a very he created a very like daughter father vibe with me. Like he just I was a little I could tell I was just a little bit of his favorite,
Uh-huh.
and the whole thing. And so one night I'm closing shop for the weekend, and we've gotten a new guy who is doing kind of closing rounds, and I get to check his work. And so we just get into small conversation around like, oh, my age, and it comes up, and I don't think twice about it. I'm like, yeah, I'm 17, and he's like, semi shocked because I'm in management at this point.
Oh
And he's
my
just
God.
like, wow, I'm like reporting to a 17-year-old. But he wouldn't have known that if we hadn't had the discussion around it. He's been working all these weeks not knowing any different. Well,
Mm.
I come to work on Monday and the GM pulls me aside and he goes, Mary, take a walk with me. We walk around the store. He goes, all right. He goes, I just want to let you know so and so ended up quitting. And I was like, oh, that's odd. He goes, yeah. He goes, and I figured this is going to get back to you. And I wanted to be the first to tell you, number one, you have nothing to worry about. Number two, like you should just let it roll off of you like water on a duck's back. He goes, but what happened is he found out how old you were and he felt like he was too important to be reporting to a 17-year-old. And I was like, wow. I go, well, I don't know that he would have ever known that. I mean, until we had that conversation the other
Right.
night. He goes, yeah, he wouldn't have. He goes, and so that's his issue. It's
That's
not
it.
yours.
That's
I want you
his.
to, yeah, he goes, I want you to know that you do a wonderful job and we appreciate you and we love you so much. And we're proud to have you in management, and I was like, oh, thank you. And so that was my first time I'd ever experienced it. And it did hurt a little bit because I was like, wow, really? Like of all the things, it wasn't like I said something wrong to you or, made you feel disrespected. Like there was none of that. It was literally just because I was younger and he felt like that was just too young for
Well,
someone to
if
be
that guy came
looking
to
over
hear you
his work.
speak and could work on his confidence,
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe it would be a different story. But for I mean, that's not a great quality. Just
No.
because someone's younger, um,
Yeah. And
tends
you
to.
know what? Now that I'm older, I keep that in mind because there's plenty of young people who I know I can learn from and that I continue to learn from. And so I keep a really open mind about that. I don't ever dismiss someone just because they're young because young people bring a wonderful energy and especially in this day and age these are all of our up and coming so-called kids that are in their 20s now. These guys grew up with technology.
Yeah.
You and I, Casey, we didn't grow up with as much technology when we were in school. We didn't have phones and we didn't go to
Right.
school with laptops. Like none of that was even a thing.
Hmm.
So to know that like they're growing up with technology and know how to wield it and use it, and technology is still a big part of the future, like there is they shortened the gap between some of those things that we all had to hurry up and figure out.
Yeah.
And I think there's some beautiful things to learn there. And also just the fact that it's a different generation and they are our up and coming leaders. One day we're going to be old people and they're going to be the ones taking care of us. So
Oh no.
just throwing that out there,
Yeah.
folks.
Well, Mary, I think one of the qualities that makes you so successful is exactly that. Is that you don't have uh, that blind, I don't know if you call it pride that that guy had, which doesn't make any sense. You're like, I can learn from anybody. I'm,
For
I'm,
sure.
you know, I'm the top of my game, but yet still, I see these people as creative, and I can take something from them. I don't know everything,
That's
and I
right.
think once you get to that point, and you think that, you know better than everybody, then I think you kind of hurt yourself a little bit, and that's probably why you keep continuing to exceed.
Yeah, I really feel like one of the things that served me so much in my career is the ability, and not even just my career and my relationships, it's being able to see people just for who they are, not like a rank or a fame or a title. Like those things have never been that important to me.
Mhm.
I lived in Beverly Hills for almost 10 years and saw movie stars all the time, half of them that honestly I didn't recognize.
Mhm.
They're just, another person walking by until someone points them out,
Right.
and
Uh-huh.
it's like, oh, that's great. Like, yes, their vocation is that they're on TV. So, of course, they're famous, but there's no like inner jitter in me that's like, ooh, it's autograph time,
Yeah, they're
or
they're the
all
same as
this.
me. They're just
Yeah, I just
they're
didn't ever
people.
have that. Yeah, they're just people. They still go home and have their own hurts and they
Yeah.
have their own wins, and we just get to see more of their life. They're more of their life is exposed because they happen to be famous, and I think that's something people forget. I remember listening to this interview from Madonna. Actually, she was talking about getting into an elevator after a concert, and someone there was like a fan or just some stranger in the elevator with her who recognized her, and instead of just saying hello or something that you would say to any kindness you'd say to a stranger, they they felt like they were obliged to actually criticize her hair. They were like, I really don't like what you did with your hair.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, wow, would you actually say that to like a stranger on the street if you saw someone and you didn't like their hair? You didn't, but because she's famous and you feel like you know her, like that,
Yeah,
you
they feel like
felt
she's not a real
comfortable enough to
person.
criticize. Yeah, almost like she's like an object instead of a person. And I think like how sad was that,
Yeah.
Or even I was talking about this with someone the other day. Justin Bieber came out with that song "Lonely," and just listening to those words, and I was like, I actually don't know if he wrote that song or if another pop star wrote it and
Mhm.
handed it over. But I was like, how true is that for a lot of people who have gained great success or even especially financial wealth, and they're in the eye of everyone knowing that, like when they make a new friend, are they secretly like concerned, like is this person really like
Yeah.
wanting to be my friend, or is there a gain that they're actually here seeking
Emotive.
from
Yeah.
me? Yeah, is there a motive behind this? And that's why, I mean, one thing I can say is I'm so grateful for the friends I've had since, since we were virgins, is how I like to put it, because we were very young. uh, and like those are great friends because you've had them for so long, and
Yeah.
so you know them, and you know them in and out, and you know them through the ups and downs. And like we're all human, we go through our ups and downs, and like how can we just acknowledge and see each other for who we are, and not like a title or a thing. I went to a party a few weeks ago, and what I loved is the conversations weren't, hey, what do you do for a living? Like, we didn't start with that. We went, what did you do that was really fun this week? And literally, just the whole networking was just about getting to know each other
Mhm.
without having it to be a thing about what kind of work do you do in the world or how do you make money. And like that was
That's pretty
beside the
cool.
point.
That actually,
Yeah.
you might have had fun at that, maybe.
Yeah, we had a
Meeting those
great
people.
time.
Yeah.
We talked about all kinds of crazy things. And
Uh,
it got to the heart of like getting to know someone, and not because there's some strategic advantage
right.
to that, And
Yeah.
the flip side is when you are being intentional about business networking, there are times where you can find some really beautiful friendships out of those by doing business. And so it just goes hand in hand. We all want to do business with people we know, like, and trust. So
Mhm.
be a person who is knowable and likable and trustworthy, and you'll attract that into your life.
Beautiful. Mr. Producer says I got to take a break. But guys,
Okay.
you're listening to the Mary D Show. Right back with Mary D. But I want you to go to maryd with two E's.com, get more information. That's okay. Right back with Mary D.
The session that we had with BCAT was really entertaining and enlightening. We were able to put together some very specific steps that we as individuals can take, and it was really fun to all come together and see sort of where we're going as a team and how we can all get there together.
We had a tremendous experience with the BCAT partners. One of the challenges that we have as an organization is to make sure that we have the right people in the right chairs doing the right thing. To do that well, you have to have synergy. You can try to dream up ways to make sure that your group does that, or you can rely on experts. We would recommend BCAT partners to anybody who's looking to take their organization to the next level.
My name is Mary D, and I'm the Joy Catalyst, here to sprinkle you with some happy dust and tickle your ear with an invitation to come and join the party. Each show is dedicated to revealing the secret recipes to creating more joy, courage, and purpose in life and business. Join us on the Just Eat the Cake podcast as we discover the ingredients that matter most in this beautiful mess we call life. Show notes and more recipes for joy are available at justeatthecake.com.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. All right, guys, we're back here on the Mary D Show. Welcome back, Mary D.
Thank you.
Mary D, you got some fans want to talk to you. And before we get there, tell everyone again about this huge weekend you got going on. Can you run through that again and just give the plugs on that, please?
Absolutely. Yes. So head over to my Instagram page. It's at the Mary D. That's TheMaryDee. And you'll see all the updates for Success Fest 2021, which is a 4-day live event for entrepreneurs. It's going to raise your vibration and take your business to the next level. And then on Saturday, I'm delivering a workshop for the International Association of Women. That is also a powerhouse day for a community of international women we're going to bring you the best tips on simplifying success in your life. And it's to celebrate Simplify Success Week.
Awesome. Thank you. So, Mr. Producer.
Yeah, we have a bunch of instant feedbacks. We will not be
Of
able
course.
to get to all of them because obviously. But I'll just start off with Jerry from North Carolina. He goes, "Do you think happiness is a choice?"
Oh, Jerry, is happiness a choice? Yes, happiness is a choice. When I had breast cancer, I will tell you it was one of the hardest things that I have ever had to go through, because I was also unfortunately going through a business lawsuit at the same time, losing both a 6 and an 8-figure business. That is a lot. I also lost my dog of 14 years the day I got diagnosed with breast cancer. Literally hardest time ever in my life was the year of 2018. Wasn't that long ago. And what I will say to that is I definitely, my baseline is typically joy, meaning that's where I like to start my day and that's where I naturally start. But in those times, I would say joy was not my baseline. And I had to make a very clear choice. And part of that was creating routines in my life that are grounding and that can bring me back to those places of joy. It's okay to feel sadness and it's okay to feel grief, because these are emotions we were given because there's a reason to feel them. We should process pain. We should process grief. We should process any of the feelings that are coming to us. Let it out, folks. Let the tears flow. It is okay. You have permission, because there is healing in it. And part of it is in making that choice to be happy, creating those routines that add more joy to your life. when you need them, right? So for me, one of those was making sure that when I wake up in the morning, that I start my day with gratitude, because sometimes that's one of the best ways to change our state, is to bring our body back into gratitude. Instead of focusing on all the terrible, horrible things that might be going on in our life, we refocus and we focus on the ways that we can find more joy, the things that we're so grateful for, the fact that we get another day to be alive and to live in this beautiful world, that we can walk out and stick our feet in the grass, that we get clean drinking water, because there are places in the world that don't have that. Like there's so many things to be grateful for, the love in our life, the pets, the people, all of those things. And then the second one was to change my state also through movement and music. So if you have ever, I don't know if you guys ever do this, right? Your favorite song comes on the radio or some monster jam comes on when you're sitting in the middle of the traffic. Don't you suddenly light up and you start to move in your seat a little bit? You might even belt out. Suddenly you become American Idol in your car on the 405 freeway. So that's what I'm talking about, is like, let's do that. Let's create that playlist of songs that lift us up and raise our vibration energetically through just that music and that flow, and let ourselves dance a little bit. And honestly, movement does so much for so many people. There are studies that show that just getting daily movement really, really does help change our physiology in a positive way. So I say get out into the sunshine, get your vitamin D the natural way, walk, move, stretch, all of those things, because they are also ways that you can implement more joy and happiness in your life. So yes,
Thank you for that,
friend.
Mary D. That's awesome.
Happiness for sure is a choice.
Yeah, comes down to that gratitude. That's awesome, guys. Mary D show. We're out of time. It goes so fast. Mary D. Go to maryd.com. She's got a weekend planned that she's going to be working hard, but if you become a part of it, you'll be better for it. So, Miss Mary D., can you give us something you want us to think about? Any last words that you want to say until we get to hear how these awesome things went? And I'm sure they're going to go awesome.
I love it. I love it. Yes. Remember that you get the choice to decide on how to feel each day. And if you're having one of those days where it doesn't feel like you're getting a choice, like you're being forced into having a grumpy day or a bad day or a tough day, I encourage you to reach back in and grab some gratitude, because gratitude is one of those things that can help ground you, brings you back to a place of appreciation. And when we sit in appreciation and gratitude, that's when our heart opens and we really are in a mode to receive. And we can choose to receive joy and happiness. Worst case scenario, go watch the funniest movie that's in your favorite collection. Go watch some, I don't know, Joe Coy's got some great stuff out on Netflix. That's freaking hilarious. Phone a friend, move your body, like all of those things can instill more happiness into your life and change your thoughts, and you change your story.
Awesome. Mary D., great job again. Good luck this weekend. I'm sure it's going to go awesome, and you're going to help a lot of people, and I can't wait to hear about it. Mary D show, guys, the Mary D. Go to maryd.com, and I can't wait to talk to you again. Be right back, guys.
Next week.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.